UK invites Biden and then invite Trump.
Yeah.
And then you have people in the comment section like, why y'all just talking about Trump? He didn't invite the Obamas, the Clintons,
Exactly.
the Bushes, Reagan.
He didn't invite anybody. Harris, the vice president. Didn't invite a lot of people. But you mentioned Trump. Even though he was good friends with Andrew, wasn't he?
I don't know nothing about Trump being friends with Prince Andrew.
Oh, you don't know now. UK only invites Biden's to rep US at Queen's funeral, but will let him ride in own car.
It's a private event. Why would they invite everybody?
I think they said the building that they're in is only 2,000 people. And this is, regardless of what you think about it, this was the Queen of England. This is
not just anybody going to be invited there.
Like it's 2,000, it's just 2,000 people. So like millions of, they said that the waiting line for people to see her casket is 24 hours last time I checked. So people are waiting in line for a day to see her casket. I remember when the Pope died back in like 2005, 4, whatever year that was, and we were watching it on TV. They had his body on TV for a week.
Yep.
And my uncle at the time, he walked in one day and saw us looking at it, and we were just talking about it. He's like, "Who that?" We said, "That's the Pope." We said, "Fuck the Pope." They would have my ass out there for a week. If I die, fuck him.
At the time, we couldn't understand why he said "fuck the Pope."
Yeah, he said "F the Pope," and we weren't offended, but we were just like, "What? This is blasphemy!" Like what? And now I'm older. It's like, yeah, fuck the Pope. Shout out to I'm sorry, this is like really...
It's lagging bad.
Like really laggy. I don't know what happened. It just happened. The screen went black and now we can't even move.
Yeah, we might have to.
Yeah, we might have to end this a little early. I'm not sure yet. Let me just... It is bad. Jeez.
Did you hit refresh?
I can't refresh it. I have to refresh them all individually, I think. I'm sorry, y'all. This is really, really slow. It was
fine
random.
early. It was actually doing okay after it went black.
It just went black and now... And it's just... Let's try this. Let me just delete 2 of them. Let's see what it does. Close group. Let's see if that helps. Okay, so that one should close. Yeah, this is going to be the last segment because this is lagging really bad. So obviously we talked about Biden's been the only ones that got invited. Another thing that happened is Prince William, and what's her name? The Duchess Meghan.
Prince William?
I'm sorry, not William.
Harry.
Prince Harry and Meghan.
Meg.
So they came out and it said Prince Harry and Meghan Markle furious. Kids won't be HRA. They won't get an honor. They won't get a name.
They are going to get a name.
They're saying they won't.
When did they do it?
Remember they didn't give his son a name.
But after the queen died,
they're saying they're still not going to get one.
Oh, that must have been the king that decided to do that then. Because when she died, they were supposed to get their titles.
Remember, Meghan Markle's father, her dad, who's white, he has a book. So not her dad, I'm sorry. There's a book coming out, right? And that book's supposed to have some stuff in it. And more than likely, who is now King Charles is not going to allow that book to come out.
When did it change that they wouldn't be able to get the titles?
I'm trying to get, I can't even get to the article. It's
cannot download the video. Okay. What is going on?
You saw it, the screen just went black.
You can't go to the next tab?
I mean, hold on. I just went through now. Okay, here we go. Prince Harry and Meghan Markle furious that their kids won't receive HRH titles. Prince Harry and Meghan Markle's kids will not be given His Royal Highness titles.
Why?
Jesus.
Because the reason why they get their titles now is because King Charles is now his line.
It's his line.
Instead of it being his mother's line,
it's his line.
It's his line now.
Yeah, Prince Harry and Meghan Markle kids will not be given his and her Royal Highness titles, leaving the exiled couple once again furious at the royal family over the snub, according to report. I thought they didn't want the names no more. Didn't they leave the royal palace?
They didn't want to be a part of it. It was, she was dealing with racism and all sorts of things.
Harry's dad, the new King Charles III, has agreed to soon bestow the titles of Prince and Princess of his California-based grandkids, Archie and Libet. But after a week of the tense negotiations, he has refused to allow them to be known as his Royal Highness titles that were stripped from their podcasting parents after they abandoned the family in the UK in 2020. So they was in negotiations. It fell through. And
in negotiations?
Yeah, you gotta negotiate titles. Like what do we get? What's the deal?
There's no negotiation. So he must have told her, either you get rid of that damn podcast you got with Spotify, because that's what they really been talking about. He wants her to get rid of that podcast.
Because you're talking about us.
Yeah. Because, they're already accusing her of having a tape recorder on her and all social shit while she was over there.
Yeah.
So the deal must have been,
get rid of the podcast.
You tell your wife to get rid of the podcast, and I will give you your kids' titles.
And come out publicly in support of us and say we're not racist.
And Meg, once again, refused to do it.
That is the agreement. They can be prince and princesses, but not a Royal Highness, because they are not working royals. So he's saying, if you're not going to come to the UK and be a public servant,
won't be your...
then you can't have his Royal Highness titles. You can be princess and princess, but you can't have the titles until you come here, live in the palace, and be public servants.
Well, that makes sense.
Go to the places and sit and wave your hand and all that other stuff. That makes sense. So why would I let you be a...
But they're gonna spin it and say he didn't name it because they got black blood in them, and that's why.
Why would I give you the titles if you in California?
That means you just want the hype, the clout.
Oh, you in Hollywood. That's really what this is about. Well, she was on that show, Suits.
I didn't know she was black.
I did not know she was black. But in the show, apparently she had a black father in the show.
I thought she was a spicy white.
But yeah, the decision follows a lot of talks over the past week since Harry's dad became king. In moment, his 96-year-old mother died last Thursday. They have been relentless since the Queen died. The insider said the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, saying they have been insistent that Archie and Libet are prince and princess. I thought they didn't want the obligations. Why are they trying to give it to the kids? Seems like they're trying to make a racial, like you said, trying to make it a racial thing. So they say they don't want it behind the scenes, make it seem like they want it, so that they can go on their podcast and say,
"Not her."
Oh, you think it's all her?
He has a podcast.
You think it's all her? It says podcasting couple.
It's her podcast. It's not his podcast.
You sure?
Yeah, I'm positive.
Maybe he just not on it as often, but maybe they both.
It's her podcast. It's not his podcast.
Okay. Okay, let me show this one right here. It seems to be loading a little bit now. Professor who wished Queen excruciating death explains defiant stance on podcast.
Oh, damn. She said she wished her excruciating death?
Yeah, she said may she have excruciating death. Now, she came out. She's the one who was calling Black Americans a cotter.
Stay away from me, a cotter.
She's the one that was saying that. And then she got in some hot fire when Jeff Bezos retweeted what she said about Queen Elizabeth. And she had Twitter deleted the tweet. And then she came out and said, why she said what she said. I ain't even got to go through this. It's kind of obvious why she said it. She got a podcast called This Week.
Wait a minute. She got a podcast too?
I guess it's hers. She's a Nigerian American associate professor of a second language acquisition at the prestigious Pennsylvania University. Sat down and interviewed Wednesday on the podcast. It's not her podcast. She was on a podcast, This Week in White Supremacy, where she took a defiant stance, telling that host, "I said what I fucking said."
Damn. But then when she put out that statement about Akata, didn't she try to say she's Black American?
No.
Oh,
she said she was Nigerian.
I didn't see nowhere where she said she was Nigerian.
Yeah, I knew she was Nigerian. Now this woman here, I can't play this because, like I said, it's lagging. I'm sorry, y'all. It said, "I would like to apologize as an American. No one wants to hear from you right now, Oprah. Sit down." Broadcaster Kinsley Schofield said it's unrealistic Oprah Winfrey will get an invitation to the coronation following her recent comments on the royal family. Remember, Oprah's the one who interviewed Prince Harry and what's called it.
She interviewed Meg.
So they're saying apparently she wanted to be a part of the coronation. She wanted to go because a lot of people want to go to the coronation. They're like, you're not getting invited. And she said she apologized as an American because Americans, when she died, were making jokes.
What particular group?
Well, not just black people. It was all people. They were making jokes for the most part. You had a few. What's his name? D.L. Hughley. He came out and said, I'm disappointed with black people for not showing restraint at the Queen's death.
This the same person they defended against Monique, though.
Yeah.
And said she was talking about his family, his wife.
And she said she was sad that your wife had to be with a coward.
And what is he? He just proved that he's what? Exactly.
Fuck Uncle Joe, because he's not about that student loan debt life, son. Uncle Joe.
George, man, he ain't getting his student loan paid off.
Nah, bro, you have to live with that.
Yep.
Well, a lot of people say they live with it, don't pay it. A lot of people just don't pay it. They just die. They live their life normal.
Debt.
Huh?
You gonna have to die with debt.
That's what they want you to do in America anyway. America love you in debt.
Joe ain't getting rid of your debt. You ain't getting no reparations.
No.
They gonna say, ain't getting no reparations.
Shit me.
He claimed he was about that FBA ADOS life. Now he told me we ain't getting no reparations.
Queensland man who claims to be Charles and Camilla's son drops DNA bombshell after Queen's death. Charles got what he wanted. He got the throne. He got his wife. He got it all. Now it's time for me to get my happy ending.
They got a son together?
Apparently they have a son together who they don't claim.
Wait a minute. I ain't never seen a mother and
a
father.
I guess they had a kid while he was married. When he was with, what's it called still.
Diana.
So he had a kid then, so they just kicked the kid out. The Game of Thrones, the kid.
But he's not a bastard.
He's not a bastard.
He is a bastard because he was.
Yeah, because he was married. So apparently, and now he's trying to get him to take the DNA test, but he's a monarch. You can't take his DNA. It's like when a person runs for office, a president, you can't take their DNA because whatever harms them, people will have their information and that can be used as a national security threat. So he's trying to figure out a way.
Okay, then all he got to do is have his brother, his sibling, which would be Prince. Which would be William or Harry.
He can't.
Huh?
He can't.
Harry's not.
They're not going to do it.
But it may not come. It probably come back not the father.
If it did, it'd be embarrassing. Like that's what's going on with Jay-Z. Funny how that story went away. Remember the dude who saying Jay-Z, the dude and the girl. They said Jay-Z is my daddy. That girl looked just like him.
Yeah, he probably shouldn't get no DNA test from Harry, because they already say that Harry is.
Yeah, some other dudes. Yeah, they said it's another dude.
I think that's his father.
That's the dude right there. He said that's his daddy.
No.
You don't think so?
No, I think the King Charles is Harry's father.
No, I'm talking about that's the dude who's saying that Prince Charles is daddy.
Well, damn, that means he's saying because you and my mama are now. Y'all have gotten married and it's official.
Yeah, you can claim it now.
He would be the firstborn son.
And he would be king.
But he don't look like him, though.
Yeah.
He don't look like him at all, to be quite honest.
Damn, you think he lying?
They do that.
Why the man got to lie?
Okay.
Well, there was a man in was it America? Was it Arizona who said that he was the rightful heir to the throne?
So now that he's the king.
No, that was like 10, 15 years ago. A dude came out and said, I'm the rightful heir to the throne. My name is this is my lineage. He's saying he was the rightful heir.
Well, he didn't claim him until he didn't come out with this information until his dad became king.
Oh, he had to wait because shit was hot. When he wasn't king, you bring that shit to the public, Now that he king, But by the way, during this time when Queen Elizabeth died, there's probably hundreds of stories that came out that are crazy, but people just throw them out during that traffic because you ain't going to pay attention to it because this happening. So there's a lot of stuff that came out. A lot of stuff was passed. A lot of articles came out revealing some truth about certain stuff that we can't even discuss because people were paying attention to this. Now, we talked about this last week. We did talk about this
last week.
The Stone of Destiny to return to Westminster Abbey for coronation. Now, the Stone of Destiny, also called the King David Stone, also called the Daughter of Pharaoh Stone. We're going to get to that. Now, the story of how that stone got into, Europe or Scotland.
You told the story last week.
I didn't. Not this story. If you remember in the scriptures, prophet Jeremiah, and his secretary Baruch, they went from Israel to Egypt for Pharaoh because they had a alliance there with the king of Israel, Zechariah. That's his name.
Zechariah.
He had a alliance with the king of Egypt, or the rulers of Egypt, through marriage. And the stone that he had was from Jacob when he was laying in the wilderness. Remember that? And he put his head on the stone.
Yeah.
Which proved that the only way you can lay your head on the stone is comfortable is if you have woolly fro hair, because they didn't want like a rock underneath your head because you'd be laying on your hair. But that's a whole nother topic. That stone, he took it with him to Israel. That stone it's always been there. And when they went there and they left and went to, talking about Jeremiah, they left and went to Europe, what we now say is Scotland, Wales, and all that stuff. He took it with him there. And that's when the other people was there and they took that stone there. Oh, this is the king. This is the stone of Jacob. And that stone became the way that they coronated the king. That same stone was used by King David. If you read the scriptures, it tell you that he stood upon the throne, the stone. That's how they say it. He stood up on the stone when somebody came into the room, which means you could say that he was sitting on it, because when they do it, they put the stone underneath the throne. So you sit on the stone. So apparently it was taken from Israel through all the way to Europe. Now I'm gonna show this right here. It's so slow. See right here? Yeah, y'all can see this. That's the stone underneath the throne. See what they got underneath it. Yeah. Now this was in. You see the lions?
Exactly.
Around it. Now this was
lions.
So this was in Scotland. It's probably the
lions represent the tribe of
Judah. Now, another thing that came out of this that I saw. Jesus, this is so annoying, right?
You know, history is just slowly being revealed.
What is the Stone of Destiny at King Charles III's coronation? The legendary history of the Scone block. Legends link this symbolic rock to the biblical stone of Jacob in the book of Genesis. Come on. The coronation of King Charles will, like that of the mother Queen Elizabeth 70 years ago, feature a historic block of stone with immense symbolic significance, especially to Scotland. So much so, it was once stolen from Westminster Cathedral by University of Glasgow students who were determined it should be returned to Scotland. The Stone of Destiny, also known as the Stone of Scone, or the Coronation Stone, was a sacred ancient symbol of Scotland's monarchy. Some Scottish legends say that the block of rock is actually the biblical stone of Jacob from the book of Genesis, according to the Old Testament. Jacob was using the stone as a pillow when he had his famous vision of a stairway leading to heaven, which became a Jacob's ladder.
You remember the movie Jacob's Ladder?
Yeah.
Two.
Yeah. Legends have it that the stone of Jacob was brought to Ireland via Egypt and Spain, either by the prophet Jeremiah or Pharaoh's daughter. If it was reputedly taken to Scotland by Fergus, the legendary first king of Scots, in around 500 AD. It's believed that the stone spent the first 100 years in Scotland, in the Isle of Iona, the symbolic in the center of Scottish Christianity and burial place of 4 days Scottish kings, 8 Norwegian kings, 4 Irish kings. In 841 AD, it was brought to the now ruined Scone Abbey in Scone near Perth. Now, why would they have Scottish, Norwegian, and Irish kings buried in one place? Because they all knew each other. They all were family or some level of connection. So the red sandstone block was used for centuries in the inauguration of Scottish kings until King Edward I seized the stone in the Scots in 1296 during the First Scottish War of Independence. Edward Longshanks had it built in the new throne in Westminster. Since then, it has been used in the coronation ceremonies of all monarchs of England and then the United Kingdom. So I want to show this right here. What is the saying they use for the queen or the king when she's sitting in the seat? What do the people say? God bless the king, right? Or God bless the queen.
Well, they've been saying God bless the queen. That's why that lady said it'll be decades. Or they say God bless the queen again because it's a king in the seat.
Uh-huh. And Esau seeing that the daughters of Canaan pleased not Isaac his father, and went Esau into Ishmael and took into the wives, and that we already know that Jacob went out to the Beersheba and toward Haran, and alighted upon a certain place and tarried there all night because the sun was set, and he took the stones to that place and put them in his pillows and lay down in the place to sleep. And he dreamed, and behold, a ladder set up in the earth, and the top of it reached to heaven, and behold, the angels of God ascended and descended on it. And behold, the Lord stood above it and said, I am the Lord God of Abraham thy father, and God of Isaac, and land whereon thou liest. To thee will I give it, and to thy seed, and thy seed shall be as from the dust of the earth, and thou shalt spread abroad to the west, and to the east, and to the north, and to the south, and thy seed shall all the families of the earth be blessed. I'm looking for one in particular. Okay, here we go. And behold, I am thee, and I keep thee in all places whither thou goest, and will bring thee again into the land. And Jacob will wake up out of the sleep, and he says, surely the Lord is in this place, and I knew it not. And he was afraid, and he said, how dreadful is the place. This is none other than the house of God, and this is the gate of heaven. And Jacob rose early in the morning and took the stone that he had put on his pillow and set it up for a pillar and poured oil upon it on top of it. And he called the name of the place Bethel, and the name of that city was called Luz at the first. And Jacob vowed a vow, saying, if God will with me and will keep me in the way that I go, and I will give bread to eat and remnant to put on. So that's him talking about the stone, right? Now look at this right here. Low. Okay. And they brought out the king's son and put upon him a crown and gave him a testimony and made him king. And he set his sons, anointed him, and said, God save the king. So they put him on the throne and said, God save the king.
And now
they got a whole song dedicated to God save the king. So that came all the way from Israel and made it all the way to Europe.
Well, they said the descendants of, Israelites.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, they descendants are right.
So why you keep trying to take those people birthmark?
Yeah, people piss me off when they say that. Why you trying to steal somebody else's history, man?
Black people just keep stealing people's history.
You see, God Save the King or God Save the Queen. The author of the tune, this was turned into a song for them, is a national or royal anthem in the most Commonwealth realms, the territories, and the British Crown dependencies. The author of the tune is unknown and it originates in Plainchant, but attribution to the composer John Bull is sometimes made. God Save the King is a de facto national anthem in the United Kingdom and one of the two national anthems used in New Zealand since 1977, as well as for several of the UK's and territories that have been on additional local anthems. So they've been saying that since then. There's another one I wanted to show.
That's your book.
Yeah,
that's your history.
Yeah, even men and women and children, even just means all right here. Even men and women and children and king daughters and every person. And the captain of the guard had left with Goliath and the sound of Achim and the son of Shaphan and Jeremiah the prophet and Baruch the son of Neriah. So they came into the land of Egypt and obeyed not the voice of the Lord and said they even now that place right here, I can't pronounce this right here, but this right here has been attributed. You can find this in the Irish history. They have documentation of this word here. So some people believe that this is that area. It is what it is. Can this please go away? Thank you. They came to the word of the Lord unto Jeremiah and saying, take great stones in thy hand and hide them in the clay and the briquet, and which is in the city of Pharaoh's house, and in the sight of the man in Judah. So this place is referenced in some Irish history. So maybe Jeremiah went there and told them about this place. Maybe. I just want to show that how that history ties up. This.